I happen to be wearing the finished product here. Do you
Me
remember
too.
when I met you, I bought
Yes.
this? So I know you
Yes.
guys probably can't see it, but it says Conquer. So she does these amazing pieces for you where you can choose an inspiring word, and I chose my word to be conquer.
Hmm.
So now that you're here, can you tell the audience a little bit about what inspired you to start your business? Tell them what your business is, what inspired you to start it. And I started
Yeah.
telling them about you paying it forward. So, in your words, go ahead and share.
Yeah. So I actually unofficially started when I was 8, um, as a hobby. Like my mom would get me those little boxes from Michael's with the beads and the elastic. And I just started making jewelry. And my mom actually had a company when I was growing up. So I was able to sell my products at her craft fairs, like at a little table next to hers. And that's really where I um, dipped my toes and became obsessed with making products for my community. And then in college is really where, I joined a sorority and I saw that there was really a need for affordable jewelry that was meaningful. And that's really when I started and like you're just saying, it doesn't start, perfectly. I'm lucky that I started very young, so that's why I'm 24 and have had all the things that you've said out loud. That sounds crazy, for all of the accomplishments that I've had, but it's only because I started so young, and nothing started perfectly, or even, I don't even think it's perfect now, but there's always a journey, and even 10 years from now, we're going to look back and say, I can't believe we were doing this or this design. So, yeah, that's really where I started. And I get my inspiration from my customers, like you, for example, and being able to empower others through the power of words. And that's really where I find my strength, and why I want to continue to work in the field, and in the industry of creating with words. Because they hold such strong meaning to you, to everyone, and individually. Conquer might not mean something to your neighbor, but to you, it means the world. And, having a design that is so versatile, and that's really why I stuck with metalwork. Because, like I said, I started young, so I love all different types of jewelry, but to be able to do one thing always and it still feel different, because, one phrase is different from one person to the next, is why I love what I do. And then for giving back, that really started during the pandemic. And, at first there was a huge, need for masks, especially for essential workers. There was, we have never needed masks in the US, for the way that we need them now. So, there was a huge shortage, and even if you bought from overseas, it would take forever to get masks to you. So, we really started making them, to sell them and do fun design. For every mask sold, we donated one to essential workers locally. And then also, if I got a message from a customer saying that they were, a nurse, or they had friends or family, I would always send them extras too. And then once, the shortage was no longer an issue, I started donating for every mask sold and every product sold, a percentage of sales to Peru, where my family is from, to be able to give PPPs to people or PPEs to people who really needed it. So, there's a small community in Peru, in Lambayeque, Peru, that has now over half of their population had COVID. And there's photos on my site. I don't know if you've seen them, but there's just dirt behind them. There's a table and there's just dirt. They don't have, the resources that we're very, very fortunate to have here in the US. So, we were able to send tables filled with PPEs to them, and continue to try and send that over to them to help them, fill that gap that, again, we're fortunate as a first world country to be able to have close by. And so that, yeah, that was really where I you know, especially when there's a shortage where you're selling so many masks. And I was like, how can you be a business owner and be, you know, successful in selling products that aren't giving back to people who don't have things, you know, and the feeling that you have, it's like, why, if I get it, if you're a small business and you're not generating enough money and you need the money for yourself, but at the point where you're generating a good income, why not save that percentage? It also gives your customers a reason to shop and support you because they know where their money is going. And especially after the year we've had, people are being extremely conscious about where their money is.
Absolutely. So the topic that you chose for today was how women entrepreneurs can support each other.
Yes.
And the challenges of being a woman CEO.
Yes. Very easy topics, right?
Very easy topic. And like, we can definitely talk about that in 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll say this. I really like that topic that you chose to end Women's History Month.
Mm-hmm.
And when you shared it, you know, I didn't start like writing back like, yeah, this is what I think. That's what I think. Because I want you to share your perspective and all of that and us to have a conversation.
Yeah.
But I remember going to an event one time and this lady shared with me that, I don't really like going to these events with women because women are just like catty and competitive and, you know, and I was like,
right.
Really? All the women that you know are like that? And I didn't know where that came from, but depending on somebody's experience, they might think that. My experience has been different in business. I found the most supportive women in business to support me in entrepreneurship. And if I did not find these women, I probably wouldn't even be sitting here talking with you right now. So tell me about what your experience has been like and, you know, you're choosing that topic and what have been your challenges as a woman CEO?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we've got to stick together. That's like number one. I think unfortunately, we live in a society still that I feel is, especially in business, the industry is run by men. So we are a minority. We're also, you know, a minority as women of color, but also as women in the business, world. It feels a majority of the time, if I'm talking to a man, he will talk down to me and think that he knows more than me, or, I'm sure you felt that as well. So even if there's the cattiness with women, it's not, I know more than you. It's, I feel like you're going to take this opportunity from me. That's the experience I've had. But I don't surround myself with those types of women. I feel like if I do, have that inkling that a woman that I'm speaking to or a business owner that I'm speaking to has that competition over collaboration mindset, then I just, obviously I'm nice, but I don't invest my time into that relationship, because the relationships that I do have with business owners like yourself, like Rainforest Beauty Care here that's on the chat, and like so many other women, wonderful women that I've met in Miami, we help elevate each other and create experiences and opportunities for each other. There's this one quote where it's like, be friends with people that will mention you in a room full of opportunities. And that's a huge thing, and it's meant to. I'm not saying that all men are like that. I just spoke to my business advisor, who's a man who is wonderful and has helped me tremendously. I'm not, sexist by any means. I'm just it's the norm, and unfortunately what most experiences I've had have been.
Yeah, you had to put that disclaimer because people will be like, but there are men who, I know.
Yeah, but there are.
And it's yes, there are men who are that way. There are women who are supportive, but there are also women who are not supportive. There are also men who are not supportive. And it's about figuring things out, figuring out when you encounter someone, like you said, who is competition over collaboration. How do you navigate that? How do you deal with that? Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think what I usually do is still act the same way I would act with somebody who is going to give me opportunities, meaning I will still try my best to give her advice, or, you know, if I have an opportunity that I see, I will still reach out to her if I think that it's, you know, fitting for her, because I always think that you should lead by example. So even if she sees others as competition, hopefully by me acting that way, she'll open up more and, you know, change her mind about at least me and hopefully others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In your experience of what you're doing, you know, and your topic that you chose, how can we as women entrepreneurs support each other? What are some of the things that you feel like you need to see more of or want to experience more of as far as women supporting each other in entrepreneurship?
I'd love to see more communities, and I think it's hard right now because of COVID, and there's definitely communities that are out there that we should seek out. But just meet up with each other and, you know, go grab coffee and let a stranger know that you meet, that you know is another woman entrepreneur, that you're there for her and that you know what the struggles are. Because I think a huge issue that I've seen with anyone who sees competition over collaboration is that they, just like what you were saying at the beginning of this live, is the glitz and glamour of what you just see on Instagram. So sometimes those women, you know, we live these lives, we know that it's hard. And for them to be like, oh, you know, it's really great. And, you know, only speaking on the positives and making it seem like their lives are glamorous. And like, yeah, sometimes it is very glamorous and it's really fun and we are our own bosses, but there's a huge percentage of the time that it's hard and we need to lean on each other. I think that's key.
Absolutely. And there are women business communities. I'm not sure if you're in any, but, you know, Facebook, you can find them. You can find them on Instagram. There are communities all over with business. But what I found is going into these communities, there is a competitive spirit. For example, by profession, I am a therapist. And for the most part, I would say 90% of the time when I encounter other therapists, they're like, yes, let's collaborate. Yes, let's do something. Let's, you know, get together and all of that. But there will be that one or two who are like, oh my God, there's not enough room for two therapists. And it's like, yeah there is, because I specialize in entrepreneurs and professionals. You can specialize in
I think, but I think maybe it's like the deep-rooted misogyny that we feel like there's not enough space for us. And so we want that one space that a woman would have. But at the same time, it's the confidence that you need to have in yourself and your business and the value that you bring that reminds you that there is no competition because there's no other person like you. Even if there's you know, for you, you know, as a therapist, obviously there's multiple therapists. For me, in jewelry, having different jewelers, but knowing that no one is doing the exact same product as me, even if they're doing cuffs with words on it, it's not my story. It's not the value that I bring to my customers that they know from me. And same with you, even if there's another therapist who specializes in entrepreneurship and other entrepreneurs, if somebody doesn't vibe with that therapist or their personality or their history, or, you know, therapy is very personal. It's so personal. It doesn't matter if the therapist specializes in the same thing, they don't vibe with them, they won't trust them. It's simple.
Absolutely. Vice versa with jewelry, you know? And I think for many women entrepreneurs, I find that it's really easy to compare ourselves.
Yes.
We compare ourselves. We look on Instagram and we see, oh, she's doing, you know, all this stuff. I had a post.
It seems like,
right?
Yeah.
She's doing all this
based
stuff.
on her Instagram. Yeah.
Based on her Instagram, and it makes me feel sad. It makes me feel like I'm losing. It
incompetent. Yeah.
What would be something that you would say to that person who feels that way?
I would say that there are endless opportunities for everyone. You know, like, just because that person got an opportunity today doesn't mean that you can't have that opportunity tomorrow. And by building these relationships, which I wish I had done in the past, is networking. But by building these relationships with people and having, you know, saying people's names in rooms where there's opportunities, they will do the same for you. Obviously do it organically. Don't do it to get opportunities. But if you do it organically and you're thinking about other people, they will too. And that's how you get it tomorrow, you know, like keep working hard and know that you are deserving, and it will come.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Something you said to me when we met each other, hopefully it's okay if I share it.
Yeah.
But I was just like, yeah, I need to talk to you some more. You were like, you and your friends, I guess your entrepreneur friends, your business friends, were saying that sometimes you just need to get together and vent about business.
Yeah. No one else gets it. No one else gets it. It's being every single different position in a company, and having to wear all of those hats of being the intern and the manager and the, you know, like, ooh, sorry, my dog, picking up any type of, you know, assignment that needs to get done, because if it doesn't, who will do it? Versus if you're working for somebody else, like you have assignments and then you're done.
Yeah, that's a whole different concept that you can only talk to your business friends about, because they'll actually understand, like, I don't get to clock out and that's it. Or I don't just get to do this one thing, or just do my job assignment and I'm done.
And done.
I have to be
or not do it and still get paid. Not do it and have a salary and be okay. You know?
Yeah.
Like if and that's a huge thing, is like, if I don't work crazy hours, I won't get paid. And, you know, I won't live the lifestyle I want, or, you know, keep growing to the extent that I want to, but it's exciting and scary that, like, we get to, whatever we put into it is what we get out of it, you know, and I think it's exciting, but yeah.
And then there's the great stuff too, right? Because, like, for those who work too,
that's what we talked about too, right?
Yeah. You want to share your wins, right? Like, I heard earlier you were featured in Vogue and Hunker and Pop Sugar and BuzzFeed and Teen Vogue and all that stuff. You want to share your wins with people who get it and they're cheering with you too.
Yeah.
They're not just like, oh, well, that's nice.
Right.
For you.
Right. Like genuine pride, and, you know, and you remember that, like, you know, who is there, who is like the one popping champagne with you when you had that win, even if they were, you know, a little jealous, but they know their time is coming and you'll do the same for them, you know? And you know, the people who are like, oh, that's great, and just maybe even like pull back from you a little because they are, you know, jealous of opportunities that you had. But it's, you know, it's again about like talking and saying someone's name in a room of opportunities. For example, more recently, there was an article written about an entrepreneur friend in Miami, and they put my name down to get an article written about me. So it's the same thing. They asked me for names, and I put your name down too, so they might be reaching out to you.
Oh my God. You know what? Thank you for that. Thank you so much. Yeah. I want to tell you what's funny about that. And maybe this is, I'm a spiritual person, and I feel like whatever I put out comes back to me.
Me too.
I wasn't doing well medically in 2020. I wasn't doing well, but so many people referred me for highlights in different media outlets and magazines. And this is without me marketing, promoting. Right. This is me taking medical leave and just like being off of social media and not even working. And just because I've networked and I try to develop these relationships, like you said, people have put my name out there, and I just get emails about opportunities. This stuff is real, people. If you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I don't know how to get myself out there, start connecting with people and having relationships, and actually talk to people. Because when I met you, I could have just said, hey, I just want a bracelet.
Right.
And Bob, we actually talked. Do you remember we talked about our mom?
I remember connecting with you. I remember the energy that we exchanged, and it was wonderful. I remember for sure. And it was great. I think that when you have that type of connection right off the bat, it's really, really important to cultivate that and grow it.
Yeah. And what was funny is part of what you do is I didn't even talk about the necklaces with the horoscope. Right? So we were talking about that because my daughter, she's 14, she's really into horoscopes, and I am a Virgo, she's a Virgo, but we have a different something.
Like, your different moon sign. Or you have different moon signs, but I think it was the same moons that me and my mom have too, and we're both also Virgos, so it was something that we connected on. Yeah.
Do you see how simple that is, guys? Just instead of throwing your business card in somebody's face and being like, bye. I don't even use business cards, to be honest. When I network and stuff like that, I don't even use business cards. I try to be very organic and authentic. So we're talking about how business women can support each other. We need to be having these conversations. We need to be sharing each other's names in the room when we're not there. We need to be there to support our wins, like pop champagne with each other. And then also for those challenges, we need to be there for that too.
Yeah, and I think what intimidated me in the past about networking is the word networking, because it's overwhelming. It makes you feel like it's work. The work is literally in the phrase, you know? It feels like you have to be all businessy and professional, and especially when you're an entrepreneur, that is not the case. You are networking because you're just making new friends and talking to people as human beings who just might happen to be a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. But you're not going to get anywhere if you know who they are, because you might get super intimidated, and just treat them like a human being. And then that's how you are able to network successfully, in my opinion. Yeah,
I agree as well. I look at it, and I had to shift my mind with this because some people would not believe me when I tell them that I work through and deal with social anxiety. It is not as bad as when I was younger, but it's something that I had to work through, and I still do it. I still get social anxiety, and I am also on top of that an introvert. So it's something that I have worked on to manage so that when I go to these events, I think of it as I'm making business friends.
Yes, I actually undiagnosed, but also social anxiety as well. And I like to think of myself as an extroverted introvert, but I agree. It's the mindset, shifting the mindset from networking to making business friends. And then you're able to create more organic conversations that don't feel forced or like you have to practice beforehand. It's just talking to somebody new.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of relaxes you when you think about it. Like, I don't have to expect anything from this networking. I don't have to expect anything from this interaction. I really just want to get to know who this person is. Sometimes you find out that you get to know the person. You're like, no, I really don't want to do business with them.
Right. But that's fine. That's why you don't go into it with a business mindset. You just talk to them as a person, and you're like, oh, this is a good contact to continue to have. Maybe go to coffee every once in a while and, you know, chat with, but maybe not partner in business.
Right. You're right.
But again, you never know who they know. So it's good to continue with those opportunities. And still, you know, maybe you go to a conference and see them there and you don't know anyone else. It's nice to at least have a friend.
Absolutely. And there's something that we used to say in the past. I don't know if you're familiar with this phrase. There's 6 degrees of separation.
No.
Okay.
I feel like I've heard it, but if you quizzed me on what it meant, is it that like 6 degrees of separation from knowing somebody? So like, you know, like the distant person from them? Okay.
Yeah. So it's like someone you know knows someone.
Yeah.
So you also don't want to step on toes, burn bridges, and do things that are shady in business, because what I've learned more than anything since moving from New York to Florida, Florida is like a little fishbowl.
Yes.
And somebody knows somebody.
Yeah, I don't know if we've talked about this, but I'm actually from Philly. So I'm from up north too. And yeah, Florida is a fish. It's good and bad. I mean, it's great for networking because it's not as big as New York or Philadelphia. And if you do it networking correctly, then you're able to get into the right doors because there's not as many people to know. But yeah, it is a glass. What did you call it? A fishbowl?
I said it's a fishbowl. That's what I feel like, it's a fishbowl, because, you know, coming from New York, it's like huge. And even though a lot of people know each other in New York, it's not like here. Like I've encountered here that I will go to different events and I'll see the same people, or I'll find out through LinkedIn or something like that that we are connected. So I've just been like, wow, this is, for me, it's been a great thing because, like I said, what I put out there, I get back. So I put out good vibes. And then I've met people who've actually been like, I heard about you, Seneca, or I've heard your name before, or I know who you are. And I'll be like, really? What? Yeah. Yeah. So that's an awesome thing.
Yeah. And especially with these maker events, because they're local, same sort of situation. We're all trying to help each other out and know which ones are better for specific types of businesses. And you see the same people all the time. Even if it's, you know, Miami versus Fort Lauderdale, or even Palm Beach or West Palm Beach or Boca, they're still, you know, I think they're like 2 hours from each other, but still same businesses a lot of the time.
Yeah. So how did you, coming from Philadelphia to Florida, how did you get your brand up and out there? Because now it's out there.
Yeah.
You have all these followers. You're doing such great stuff. How did you get it out there?
Honestly, for my Florida community, it's like you're saying, for knowing people and networking, it has to be, you know, those Facebook groups that you were discussing. But then for my customers, it's these local events that we're very fortunate in Florida that we're able to do outdoor events. So I started doing that around the holidays, and I try to do, you know, at least 4 events, if not more, a month, to get myself out there. And that's really how I've been adding, you know, followers or the community here. And it helps that, you know, it's very vibrant and fun and easy to shoot, because the lifestyle here is so fun to create content with. And it's always a learning curve of finding a new industry and target market, because here it's super colorful. And, you know, even with the face masks, I'm coming out with a new collection for Miami, because, you know, I had all these masks that I was selling online, like mostly up to New York and New Jersey, that really needed face masks at the time. And now I'm here in Miami doing events, and people, you know, are seeing them in person. And these are the types of people who want flamingos or watermelons or, you know, bright, you know, colors, patterns that are different, because otherwise they won't buy another mask. They want something that they can wear down here. And I think what I've found too is that we're very fortunate that the lifestyle in Florida is something that everywhere wants to emulate, you know, because if you're up north in New York and you see something fun and colorful and, you know, summery in Florida, you still want to buy it. It's not irrelevant. Because it's the lifestyle of being warm that you're craving up there. So we're very fortunate that we have the lifestyle that, you know, translates to all of my customers.
Yeah. And I love how you have a vision of seeing what's needed, when it's needed, where it's needed, and then you go in that direction. I think a lot of new entrepreneurs struggle with that. They're like, I don't know what to sell, or I don't know what to do. And it's just observation.
Yeah. I mean, that's what has been really helpful to me. And I'm still like not perfect with it. I even had an idea today about, you know, maybe even doing like small batches of, you know, like one quote at a time, where I'm able to just, you know, take a picture myself. I don't have to send it to the studio or anything, and do like really fun, cutesy quotes that, you know, don't have to live on the site 24/7, but can be of the moment. Like if there's a song that comes out, or, you know, a feeling that's everyone's having, you know, for summer or something like that. And it hasn't always been that way. I think it's just listening to your customers, especially at events, because you can like, we can hear you at events. We hear what you have to say to your friend, where, you know, you touch the bracelet and you're like, oh, I don't like this color, or, oh, this, like, I love this quote, you know, like, we hear you. So listening to that feedback, which is super organic and super helpful,
Definitely.
is important especially as a new entrepreneur.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for Exquisite for saying that. I didn't even say that, you guys. I always say when our speakers are speaking, if they're sharing gems, drop those gems in the comments so they know. If you're taking notes, drop the notes in the comments. And if you just want to support this queen, drop the crown in the comments. So, you know, you're sharing so much information, and I am motivated by what you're saying. I'm inspired by what you're saying. I'm also in awe, because when I was 24, I don't even want to tell you what I was thinking and doing.
Well, this conversation and what your feedback and everyone's feedback is motivating me too, because we're people, entrepreneurs are people, and sometimes it's hard. A lot of the times it's hard because, you know, when you work for somebody else, if you do a good job, usually your boss tells you, great job. Or, you know, you have that positive reinforcement. Or if it's negative, fine, it's negative, and you know what to work on. Versus as an entrepreneur, you know, unless you have conversations like this with other people, you know, laying out your successes, you don't look at them all the time. So it just, you know, just going through the day, trying to get through it and get everything done. So
I'm glad that this was good for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm doing stuff.
I am. Yeah, it's nice to hear the bio. Yeah, thank you.
You are doing stuff. You are doing fabulous things. This is amazing. I can't wait to see you in some more stuff, you know, coming up, and see where you are. Now, for those of you who tuned in live, and for those of you who watch this on the replay, we have a treat for you.
Oh, the discount.
Yes.
I spoke too soon. I always do that.
We have a discount so that you can get you some wonderful custom-made jewelry. So go ahead and share them, how they can get that, where they can get that, you know, what to do.
You're going to have to remind me of the code.
Okay.
You probably have it, but I will tell you, so on the website, CamillaLimon.com, it's also in my bio. And then you can either choose from one of our collections that we already have designed, or you can choose a custom piece and choose your own personal mantra that means a lot to you. I like to think of it, you know, as like a removable tattoo. If you always have that quote that you've wanted to tattoo on you that you haven't been able to commit to, but means the world, you can add that to your stack. And yeah, so the website is in the link in my bio. And I think the code is Conquer10.
Yes, you got it. Yes. It is Conquer10. I don't know if it matters if it's in caps or not, but you have it in caps, so it's Conquer10. Just the word conquer and then the number 10, 10. And then they can go ahead and get them some wonderful jewelry. My word was conquer. I always choose a word every year. I've been doing this for maybe the past like 5 years. 1 year I had accelerate. That was an amazing year. That was 2017. And I did accelerate that year. That's when I relaunched business in Florida after moving from New York. I've always chosen like something that was a verb. So I have to do something. So I had alignment last year. So alignment. So it was all about getting in alignment. And 2020, didn't we have to get in a lot of alignment?
Yeah. You're really manifesting these.
Right. So I just love your brand that you have something thoughtful, something that's a reminder, something that's empowering. I love behind the brand, the entrepreneur, you, you're so authentic and transparent. I love that. Your customer service was awesome too. I appreciate that. And I know that, you know, you've been doing this since you were 8. So that's why at 24, you know, like it seems like this, but I know that you go through your challenges and you are also climbing hurdles too. And I thank you for being transparent here today. And I hope that you'll come back, you know, within the Conquer Network, and we can do some other stuff. And I'm sure that there's things that you can teach us as well if people are interested in learning about business and being a woman entrepreneur, because there's a lot of stuff, you know, that we can talk about in so many angles in business besides just, let's just talk about your jewelry. Talking about the journey of it and what it's like.
Experience and advice, and hopefully, you know, inspiration and fuel, like you were saying. I made my manifestation board for 2021. I think the overall theme for me wasn't a verb, but it was accept love. And that was like something that, you know, accept love from the community, accept love from others, because, you know, we're very hard on ourselves always. So I think that was a huge theme for me personally, which I also love conquer and empower. Empower was a big one for me last year, was to empower others. And I mean, I try to emulate that always. I hope that is clear. But I think a huge thing too for networking is to be transparent and open, and, you know, people can see that. And that's when they start to trust you, is when they really get to know you for who you are instead of who you think you should be, or who you think they want you to be, or who you think is, you know, acceptable. Because that's when you shine. So.
Absolutely. Now, you've shared a lot of great things. Before we close off, is there a prompt, a quote, or something like that, like a conquer prompt that you want to leave our guests with? Is there a quote that you live by, or just an idea from tonight that you want them to take away?
Yeah, so more recently, because I was just asked this too, I think the Rupi Kaur poem of resilience, like, I don't know if you've heard it, but basically it talks about how, you know, you always compliment women by saying you're beautiful, you're pretty. But she said, you know, I have to stop doing that. I have to say that you're resilient, you're brave, you're strong, because, you know, you've moved mountains, you know, your bravery, you know, I can't like belittle you to just what you were born with, when, you know, what you are is so much more than that. And I think that's really the thoughts that I will leave everyone with, is that you are resilient.
I love it. You are resilient, guys. Let's give Camilla some love. Let's give her some crowns, some hearts, and all of that. She joined us tonight. She took her time. Listen, you guys don't understand. Entrepreneurs taking their time, I do not take that for granted. Because
thank you for your time, and thank you for thinking of me and for this platform and for all that you're doing. I mean, it's wonderful, and we really need, I mean, everyone needs therapy and help, and you know, people caring about emotions. So, you know, you're doing also a wonderful job, and thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you so much. And thank you all who tuned in tonight to our finale of the Women's History Month Business Spotlight. From the Conquer Network. We are all about the entrepreneur behind the entrepreneurial journey and focusing on emotional wellness and building mental wealth. Because behind every, you know, finished product, behind every service that you see, there is a person that has to conquer challenges, their mindset, family issues, relationships, all kinds of stuff. And as women, we need to be supporting each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it is just a little, hey, how are you doing? How's your business going? Saw this opportunity, thought of you, send it over to them. You never know. You might make their day. You never know what could happen when you referred them for something. there's an endless amount of money out here. We don't have to compete with each other. Even if we're doing the same thing, it's out here. So for those of you
and don't forget, sorry, and don't forget to compliment people too. You might think that it's super obvious that, you know, they did a great job, or, you know, you're proud of them or whatever, but sometimes people need that positive enforcement. And by doing that, it also helps their Instagram engagement. So definitely throw them a comment and a save, and tell them give them some appreciation.
Yes, don't just be like spying on people's IG people and you're not liking and sharing and commenting.
Or sending it to others and being like, look at this thing that she did. Why not also be like, look at the thing that you did. So cool. It's not creepy. I promise you, you'll probably make a friend.
You might. Yeah, you might. So like, we could have a whole part 2 of this.
Yeah.
How to support other women entrepreneurs. So thank you all. And I wish you all a successful 2021. Do stay connected, like, share, and follow with your community. You know, now that you've been at the Business Spotlight, you're a part of the Conquer Networks community. So we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Take care. Peace and blessings.